Bill.
Hi,
There's Bill. Hey, Bill. Good morning.
good morning. Where are you getting all that brightness behind you, sunshine?
I know I'm in Maui.
In Maui.
All right, folks, good morning, and here we go.
Here we go.
Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. You are beautiful just the way you are. Step into the love. You're illuminated by the glory of God's love. Step into the truth. From within your abundance overflows. Our love can change one life. One life can change the world. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light. Step into the love. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. Step into the light, step into the love, step into the truth of who you are. I am the light of the world. You are the light of the world. We are the light of the world. So move with me, step with me, step into the light.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Downey Center for Spiritual Living, now known as Vida Spiritual Learning Center. My name is Sunshine Day, and I get to be the spiritual director, and it is my absolute joy to welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. We are a vibrant community that really absolutely loves being together on Sundays and throughout the week. But let me remind us of our vision and mission statement so you have an opportunity to kind of tap into the consciousness of which we speak. Our vision and mission is this: by valuing and empowering all, we inspire a fulfilling and joyous life. And in Spanish, it's a valorar y potenciar todo. Inspiramos una vida plena y alegre. So I just want to say that wherever it is that you find yourself in your spiritual journey, on the spiritual quest, that you are welcomed here and that we are all about valuing and empowering all so that each of us collectively and individually are inspired to live a fulfilling and joyous life. So whether that's in English or in Spanish, you are welcomed here. One of the things that we do, well, lots of the things that we do in order to value and empower all is to know the truth about who we are and to know the truth about ourselves, to know the truth about one another. And one of the ways that we do that is through prayer. Another way that we do that is through meditation. And so this morning, part of our spiritual practice is prayer and meditation. Meditation and prayer. And leading us this morning in our meditation and then a word of prayer is our practitioner, Jan Hartman. So I'm going to invite us to surrender, to surrender our minds, our activities, our being, so that we can be led gently through that meditation and prayer with Jan Hartman. Jan?
Thank you. Well, hello, good morning. Good morning, good morning. It's such a delight to be here this morning. It's the 1st December of Sunday of 2021, and we're opening our hearts now here in December to the journey of becoming. Vita Spiritual Learning Center is all about exploring the many spiritual practices that can enhance and expand our consciousness. It's our way of being in this world of ours. Prayer, reading, study, meditation, music, conscious giving, community life, sharing our talents. All these practices take us to the center of ourselves and create an ever increasing, beautiful God expression. Last night, my prayer was to know what I wanted to share with you today, and I woke up with a spiritual practice connected to poetry. A poem, a song of life, by Reverend Sapphire Rose of the Holmes Institute School of Ministry. So settle in with me, find your soft, still place, and I will move into a softer voice that allows me to be in that stillness with you, reminding us that it really is an important time to connect with the beloved, breathing in, breathing out, slowing down, appreciating life, and sitting in that wonderful place that is God expressing in, as, and through each of us. So as you settle in and soften your breath, close your eyes to a gaze or gaze, whichever you prefer, and think about today. Think about what's coming up in this month, and think about one of the things that is important for us to remember is that letting go is a primary function of life, because everything changes except the changeless one. And so we need to be reminded sometimes that it doesn't really serve us to hold on. So I'll add some small spaces for silence while I read, the place where you can let it sink in and you can own it. You can breathe it in, take it in, and make it your own. I let go. Without a thought or a word, I let go. I let go of fear. I let go of judgment. I let go of the confluence swarming around my head. I let go of the committee of indecision within me. I let go of all the right reasons, wholly and completely, without hesitation or worry. I let go. I didn't ask anyone for advice. I didn't read a book on how to let go. I didn't search the scriptures. I just let go. I let go of all of the memories that hold me back. I let go of all the anxiety that kept me from moving forward. I let go of the planning and all the calculations about how to do it just right. Well, I didn't promise to let go. I didn't journal about it. I didn't write the projected date in my day timer. I made no public announcement, and I put no ad in the paper. I didn't check the weather report or read my daily horoscope. I just let go. I didn't analyze whether I should let go. I didn't call my friends to discuss the matter. I didn't do a spiritual mind treatment. I didn't call the prayer line. I didn't utter one word. I just let go. No one was even around when it happened. There was no applause or congratulations. No one thanked me or praised me. No one noticed a thing. Like a leaf falling from a tree, I just let go. There was no effort, no struggle. It wasn't good and it wasn't bad. It was what it was, and it just is that. In the space of letting go, I let everything all be so I could be me. A small smile came over my face. A light breeze blew through me, and the sun and the moon shine forevermore. And here's to giving ourselves that gift of letting go, because there's only one guru, and that's you yourself. And now, ever so gently, begin to collect the blessings that you have received in this time. Slowly returning your awareness to your renewed self, your surroundings. It's time to relish the rest of this wonderful service and our time together, and hear my prayer. You are refreshed, trusting that you are unified with your source, and knowing to your depth that the divine is the creator of all, always. I am, you are, we are eternally connected with all that God has ever expressed, and it is all good. It is all perfect. We are whole. We are complete. There is no place where God is not. Each unique expression of God is good and part of the essence of the life that God is. So I, you, and we are the divine community. And so now we witness Reverend Sunshine's message of surrender in action, which brings us to the gratitude for our life here as God's good work. We give thanks for the love that pours forth from each of us, making a divine commitment to be inspired ever desiring to offer ourselves to the world, and creating more peace, more joy, more love. Surrendering these words, I speak into the law and the love that is God, and I know it complete. I feel it complete, joyful, and so very good. God always operating. And so it is, and now it is.
Hmm. Thank you so much. Let's show some love for our practitioner, Jan Hartman. Thank you so much. Beautifully done. Hmm. And I have just a few announcements for you today. Our practitioner of the day, Jan Hartman, as luck would have it, is holding her prac chat for the holidays via Zoom. And her next gathering is this coming Thursday, December 9th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. And Jan, if you just wanted to speak a few words about that.
Certainly. Holiday time and holiday energy is filled with all manner of emotions, all manner of feelings and events and things that are bringing us to life in many different ways. Some joyful, some in remembrance, and some simply being in that deep space of knowing that the love that we feel that's so great continues on regardless of loss, regardless of grief, regardless of the things that change in our life that we can't do anything about. And so as we sit in that, I offer an opportunity on Thursday night from 6 to 8 for anyone that wants to talk about anything connected to dealing with that deep loss that comes when that heart gets constricted with that loss and that grief, and needs to come back to truth and come back to expansion, and how deep that love is and how much it contributes to our learning and to the planet. So please come, please join us. Be there if you can.
Thank you so much for that. And the link for that Zoom meeting you'll find in the weekly email and on our website at downeycsl.org. And a reminder, we have available to you Minute Miracles. After our service, practitioners are available to pray with you, and we use the Zoom feature of a breakout group where you will be paired up one-on-one with one of our practitioners, and they will know the spiritual truth for you. And Calling All Teens, the theme for this coming 2022 winter team camp is called Make Room to Bloom. And that occurs virtually on January 14th through 16th, 2022. And registration is now open through December 15th. The cost is $50, and there is a link in the email on the website if you're interested in getting financial support for that registration fee for that cost. Email us, and we will see what miracles we can work to enable our team to join that camp. And it is another form of spiritual practice to be in gratitude. And I want to thank all of those folks that work together to bring you these weekly gatherings, as well as all the other activities of our vibrant, beloved community. So thanks to our practitioner of the day, Jan Hartman. Thanks to our spiritual director, and for the message today, Reverend Sunshine, joining us from sunny Maui, sort of. To those folks that are looking after those that are joining us on the live stream, both on YouTube and Facebook, welcome to those on the live stream, and thanks for those in our community interacting with those folks. Thanks to our Leadership Council for all the tremendous work they've been doing, particularly in during the pandemic and during our transitional period as a beloved community. And thanks to our music team and our music director, Sunny Day. And especially thanks to all of you for joining us here today. This makes this gathering unique and special in a very powerful and positive way. So thanks to you for being here today. And our next form of spiritual practice is giving as a spiritual practice. In the ways in which you can mail your gift to 3350 East 7th Street, Box 529. That's in Long Beach, California, 90804. You can use your bill pay service. You can use the donate link that I will put up in the chat right now. And we're also taking donations through Zelle. And you Zelle to our center phone number, which is 562-928-6460. And this becomes a kind of spiritual practice, particularly when you are mindful of the quality or the character or the feeling tone with which you give. And I do want to take a moment here to thank everybody for your generous donations and for filling out pledge cards. Those pledge cards that link is still live. So if you want to submit a pledge card, we'll be taking those all the way up into the first of the year as we plan our budget for the coming year and beyond. So thanks to all of you for making November a really prosperous month for our community. But that consciousness with which you give, to me, is one of generosity. That's the most prominent feeling. I feel generous. I also feel abundant. I feel full. So full that it just feels natural to circulate my good and to circulate that good in particular to something that so bountifully feeds me spiritually, like this beloved community. So I invite you just to take a moment to call to heart and mind that feeling of giving that works for you, whether it's abundance or prosperity or generosity or a plenitude or just feeling gracious, just feeling grateful, and to put that into circulation as we say our statement of giving together. And we're going to say this simultaneously in English and in Spanish. I'm going to choose English. I invite you to unmute yourselves and we'll say it together in the language of your choice. So here we go. Abundance flows in my life. I am blessed with prosperity. I give with generosity. I tithe on faith, belief, and with a consciousness of love. My gift has a divine circulation through me, now benefits and grows our spiritual community and beyond. And now it is.
Y ahora es.
Thank you so much for that. So I invite you to now mute your microphones and just prepare your heart, your feeling being as we sing this song for our message.
I'm walking in the Spirit, walking in the Spirit, walking in the Spirit of one God, loving in the Spirit, loving in the Spirit, loving in the Spirit of one God, moving in the Spirit. Oh, I'm moving in the Spirit. Oh, the Spirit. Oh, God. Growing in the Spirit. Every day. Spirit of wonder.
Wow. Here we are again now in the first Sunday of December, and the journey continues. The journey continues, and we continue to grow and unfold. If in fact we're actually participating in that growth and unfoldment. Our talk title today is Surrender in Action, as we've been looking at this yearly theme of evolutionary vision and ancient or timeless wisdom. And it's interesting for me to have taken on this yearly theme around evolutionary vision and timeless wisdom, because each and every month we have indeed been taking a look at what is the timeless wisdom so that we glean from it and harvest from it that which is necessary for our growth and unfoldment. And yet we've been having this evolutionary vision. What we know is that a people without vision perish. And so how we have so lovingly and so beautifully began this weave of ancient wisdom or timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision to really be something that is a garment that we wear or that we utilize, our prayer shawl, our prayer garment, our blanket, our whatever it is that we've been weaving together to bring us to this point. And to this point, this month we're looking at the journey of becoming. That as we've looked through from January 2021 until today, that what we've been doing is putting things in place, that we've been stitching things together so that we are now in this place of becoming. But who are we becoming, and what are we becoming as a result of these spiritual practices? What's interesting to me is that in our evolution, in our becoming, we actually need to know who we are. Right? It's kind of like if I want to go to anywhere in the world, I first need to start with where am I right now, so that then I can begin to navigate how I get to from where I am to where I want to be. And it's the same with this journey of becoming. This journey of becoming is really about taking a look at who I am now, where I am now, what is my state of affairs. And so, we think that because it's December that this journey is actually coming to an end, but in fact it is a continuous journey. It is an eternal journey of sorts, where we continue to evolve and grow. And for me, it's actually I don't necessarily take life itself as this journey, because then it's always about the destination. For me, even taking a holiday and taking a trip, oh, I'm here now. So now what? But it's always about, who am I in this moment? What am I experiencing in this moment? Am I living my best in this moment? A few of us were talking yesterday and having this discussion around, our social media page, and how many people just want to post them living their best life. Now, I think it's great. People need to see people living their best life. But what about when times are hard? What about when things become a little bit challenging? Are we posting that? Is that the real? Is the story of how we got over to the other side, part of that journey of living our best life? And, this is not to judge anyone who does this or who does not. This is simply an opportunity for us to take a look at our journey and taking a look at our life, not necessarily as a game, but actually looking at it and living it moment by moment, breath by breath, with the consciousness of, my life is God. My life is good. So today, when our talk title is Surrender is an Action, of course it's an action, but it also depends on, what am I surrendering to? I think about the times when folks say to me, "Oh, Sunshine, you know what? I just got caught up. I got caught up in the mob mentality, or I just got caught up in what was going on, and before I knew it, I was just in it, and it's not necessarily what I wanted to do." That ever happened for you, where there's some chaos in the moment, and all of a sudden we're just all in the chaos? That is a great example of surrender. Not necessarily the surrender that we want to have. Because at the end of it, it's kind of like, oh, how did I get sucked into that? How did I become so enthralled and entangled and in the mix of that? It wasn't even my deal. But all of a sudden, in that mob mentality, or we get caught up in the spirit of shopping and overspending or overeating or indulging in things that we know, and we emerge remorsefully, going, "Oh, how did that happen?" And that is a great example of that type of surrender, that it is an action, that in that particular instance, and something that we don't want to necessarily surrender to, that we have actually allowed. There's this sense of allowing. So if we examine those steps, because sometimes, when people go, "Oh, just surrender," or relax, or even if a police officer, I have some officer friends, and we were having this conversation the other day, and he was saying, "Stop resisting, stop resisting." Sometimes these words are actually trigger words. Stop resisting, surrender, relax, relax. Sometimes I'm like, "Don't tell me to relax." Those opportunities where we have these words given to us, sometimes they happen and they occur in moments where they have great meaning. And if we were to only do that, if we were to only stop resisting, if we were to only surrender, if we were to only relax, that something would shift and change within us so profound and so deep, that we would actually begin to enjoy a situation, or not have to keep our dukes up, if you will, not have to continue to resist or fight. It was like that when I think about we're just, finishing up the celebration of Hanukkah. And, back in the day and in the Hanukkah story, there was 8 days of oil that was left, even though they believed that there was only 1 day of oil. And it's a miracle. It's a miracle. And they were able to rebuild their temple, because even though they thought there was only 1 day worth of oil there was actually 8 days. And they recognized through some act of surrender, of just this allowance, that what they believed was only 1 day's worth of oil to keep the light going was actually 8 days of oil. Now, when I think about the word surrender and the resistance that we put up sometimes, I am brought to the serenity prayer. And that serenity prayer is so powerful. I just finished teaching a 6-week course on living the serenity prayer. And that serenity prayer is all about this surrender. It is about being so steeped in a power, in a presence, being so anchored in knowing that God and I are a majority, that my life is the life of God, that there is this complete trust and this complete knowing that everything that is for my highest good and the highest good around me will come to fruition. That something good must come of this, that something wonderful is always happening. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for me, growing up in the US, and especially growing up female in the US, growing up woman of color in the US, that I was told that there was very little that I can control, that I was at the mercy of adults, right? That I was at the mercy of men, that I was at the mercy of employers, that I was at the mercy of the government, and many of us here watching, you also have that experience of quote unquote being at the mercy of and not being in control. So for me, one of the ways that I dealt with that was I had to grab as much control as possible. I was a control hog. Let me grab this control. I can control this. I can control that. Let me drive. Let me make the arrangements. Let me do this. Let me do that. Blah, 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 blah. Let me blah, blah. And to the place where, holy cow, I was just so burdened with control. And my antidote to not being in control of anything was to try to grab as much control as possible. And what I have learned in my life and as part of my spiritual journey is that control is really an illusion. That that life is in process, and that really the thing that I get to change is myself and my thinking. What I've begun to really understand on a deeper level is that there is a power and a presence and a life, that it has created everything out of itself. Therefore, my life is that same life, that I am a unique and divine, magnificent expression of this divine one life that has created everything. So I am never apart from, but I am a part of. And being a part of means that I have all the privileges and the responsibilities of the one. Therefore, with that consciousness, when I surrender control, when I relax, when I kick back and take it easy, What I am really saying is that there is one that lives within me that knows what is for the highest and the best. I remember telling the story not too long ago because it's something that happened for me over the summertime. And that was that I was in the ocean in Huntington Beach swimming with a friend of mine. And I was so taken and distracted by all these young lifeguards that were in training, the junior lifeguards, and they all jumped in the water and they were swimming way past me. And I'm like, look at these little kids, these youngins. And, I'm over here being the sage, the 50 plus person who's like, frolicking in the water, just admiring the youth of today and just their desire and their vibrant life. And they're just out there swimming and the waves are coming. And, before you know it, I had got caught in a riptide and was a lot further out than what I thought that I was. And it's very, very interesting because this is where that serenity prayer comes into place. That place of surrender is an action. You don't just go, okay, I give up. It's not just like, okay, I give up and then, just there's nothing else happening. But I remember not being able to feel the sand underneath my feet. And then looking at the shore and kind of going, yes, I'm a little bit further out than I want to be and that I'm comfortable being. And I knew that it would be a little bit of a struggle to get back on my own, that I could probably muster all of the power that I had within me and swim and try to remember, now, am I supposed to swim sideways or am I, like, how is it that we're supposed to swim in order to get back? Like all of that was not coming to me in that moment. But if I wanted to, I could probably muster up enough of it and tire myself out. But it was in that moment that I simply surrendered to my circumstance and situation. Okay? It was like, holy cow, I'm in this water deep. And I surrendered. I had to, and I got to quickly accept what is the current situation. So I had to accept, this is my situation. No, I'm not laying out in the sun. No, I'm not on a boat. No, I don't have a life raft. I am here in the, like in this ocean, and I don't know how to get back. And I had to surrender to that. Accept that. That's what that meant. Accept that this is my current situation and circumstance. And from that moment, my friend asked me, are you okay? And I said, yeah, but I need help. I had to concede that by myself, I was not going to make it to the shore. I need help. So making that declaration, I had to accept my circumstance. I had to declare, I said, I need help. And so she said, give me your hand. And I had to, again, accept her help. I accepted her hand, and calmly, we were breathing. I was kicking. We were kind of, just kind of floating out there. But before you know it, in these particular steps of surrender is an action. It's like, okay, I began floating on my back and trying to get in that way. A junior lifeguard came back and I said, hey, I need help. Again, a second time, I made a declaration. I need help. And he said, sure, what can I do for you? I said, I need help getting to shore. He said, okay, give me your hand. And I gave him my hand. I accepted his help. I surrendered by giving him my hand. And he goes, you're doing good. Here comes a wave. You might want to go under it. Go under it, go under it. And within the next minute or two, as we were just kind of bobbing along right there, and I was accepting his help, even though his help didn't look like me being on the shore at that moment, I had to trust that even though I was still out there in the ocean, that there was help right there. My prayer was answered. And a minute or two later, the lifeguard comes and the lifeguard says, "Give me your hand." And I gave him my hand, and he put my hand on the buoy that was attached to a string that was attached to him. And he said, "Hold on." And before you know it, he was swimming. I kept kicking to assist. And there I was. I lived to tell the story of surrender is an action. But sometimes we don't know what that word surrender really means. And what it really means is actually that serenity prayer, that opportunity, especially now as we're coming into winter solstice, where we actually pause, where we stop, where we begin to recognize, here is where I am. We begin to take an inventory of the harvest, the things that I've learned, where I am. We begin to get, to become that conduit of life as me. We begin to live in that fourth quadrant that Michael Beckwith talks about, where it is that we are evolving towards. So many times we live in victim consciousness where life is happening to me. And when we release our victimhood and we recognize that through the power of our word and the power of our consciousness and our awareness, that we actually are vibrating at a particular rate, that we are broadcasting that vibration of what it is that we want to experience and receive in quadrant 2, and we attract that. We are bringing it towards us. So of course, right, that's that place where we find the parking spot, the prince, the palace, right? This is exactly where in that phase 2, where a lot of people get stuck. In phase 3, what we need to do to get to phase 3 is we must release control. And when we release control, what that really feels like is that I'm not really making this happen, that by virtue of my living and being, as I continue to recognize who I am, that really life is happening through me, because there's only the one power, the one life, the one presence. And in this fourth quadrant, life as me, this is that place that sometimes we touch the hem of the garment. We catch a glimpse of life as me, where we are just so freed, so surrendered, so unencumbered by the human accoutrements, by the human accessories, that we know that our life is the life of God beyond a shadow of a doubt. Life as me, where everything is actually flowing and everything is moving in a direction that what we might consider a problem is actually just simply the life journey that we're on. That nothing is indeed a problem at all, that it is just simply the visual, it is simply the sweetness of life happening. It is that thing that calls us forth to actually know again and again and again, that takes us back into our spiritual practice so that we're reminded of the truth of who we are. You see, a while back, I met a man, his name was Kevin, not our beloved Reverend Kevin. And though this Reverend Kevin as well drove a motorcycle. So I tend to attract those kind of men in my life, and I like it. And one of the things that I learned from that Reverend Kevin was this phrase, "Now that's for me." And it's interesting because whenever he saw something or heard of an experience, he would always say, "Now that's for me. Now that's for me." In other words, he knew that everything was available to him through his practice and through his knowing and his deepening his practice. He knew that there was nothing off limits in life. Everything is God. I am the unique and unrepeatable way that this power and presence shows up. So that is for me. This is all for us. Everything is for us. There is absolutely nothing that is against us. The other thing that I've learned on this spiritual path is that something good must come from this. That even when I get caught up and even when I surrender to chaos, when I don't want to, and I get caught up in the minutia of life, in the arguments and the pettiness and all of that, that I can actually use that to catapult me back into a spiritual practice so that I know that my life and all life is God. Now that is surrender in action. And when I think about that kind of surrender in action, especially being in the thick of an argument or being in the thick of getting caught up, just like I was caught up in that riptide, that act of accepting, oh, here's where I am. Here's where I am. It's not necessarily where I want to be, so I ask for help. It's that serenity prayer, right? It's that seemingly asking some power outside of me to help me, but it is actually that deepening. I know where my help comes from. It comes from within me and all around me because there's only God, and we're living and having our being in this power and presence. So when I scream out for help, when I say help, I need help, I am simply reminding myself that I must again bring my consciousness to that place that everything is coming together for my highest good, that something good must come from this, and that shore, now that's for me. Now that's for me. Exactly, right? Calling that forth and surrendering as the action, not as I'm giving up, I'm a victim to this circumstance and situation, but as that reminder that I trust God and love people. That has been one of my mantras this year. Trust God, love people. Especially when people don't do like I want them to do. Especially when people don't be like I want them to be. Especially when people don't behave like I want them to behave. I get to remind myself of this mantra. Trust God, love people. Trust God, love people. Trust God, love people. That is my form of surrender as an action. I'm not surrendering to lose. In Alcoholics Anonymous, there's this phrase that says, surrender to win. And oh, how true that is for the suffering alcoholic who surrenders their way of living and their way of being. And it's this trading in your life of shenanigans and drugs and alcohol to a life of freedom. It reminds me of Ernest Holmes when Ernest Holmes says in our Declaration of Principles is that we are to, that he sees a world where we are free from all discord. That's what I want to see. And the only way that I get to see that is by participating in surrender as an action. And our surrender as an action means to dive back into our prayer, into our meditation, into our knowing that there's one power, one presence, one life. and that life is God, that life is infinite intelligent, that life is vida, that life is love, that life is peace, and that life is your life now. That this power and presence created you out of itself. Therefore, that which is true of God is true of you. Man, I love surrendering to that. I feel so good. I mean, what do you want to surrender to? You're nothing. You're a piece of crap. You're never going to amount to anything. You're incapable. You're this, you're that. You're an alcoholic. You're a dope fiend. Do you want to surrender to that? Or wouldn't you rather surrender to you are magnificence? You are the unique and unrepeatable, magnificent, powerful way that God shows up. You are life itself. You are the love that God is. You are the love of God. You are the life of God. You are the beauty of God. That is what I am inviting us to surrender to this week. That as we engage in our spiritual practice, that we surrender to that action of love, that we surrender to the action of God is our life, that we surrender through our continued spiritual practices this week to know beyond a shadow of a doubt, to begin to scratch at the garment or to touch the hem of the garment of life as me. Not life to me, not life by me, not life through me, but life as me. Let's see if this week, if we can come back next Sunday with some praise reports that we had a glimpse of life as me, that we surrendered as an action and began to live this amazing life, that we took the time to settle in and to really, really surrender to win. Because that is what is being offered this week. Surrender to win. It is so, and so it is, and now it is. Thank you, beloveds. So how great it is to be here, right? December 2021, our first Sunday of the month, which is our Sunday Fun Day, because we get to celebrate birthdays. And already Reverend Kevin is so excited to celebrate birthdays. He's playing the song. But before we actually sing to one another, please, for those of you who are on mute and on our Zoom, go ahead and unmute and tell us if you have a birthday this month or if a loved one has a birthday this month. And if you are on any of our social media platforms, YouTube or Facebook, go ahead and type in the chat the name of your loved ones or yourself who are celebrating birthdays. All right, let's do this. My mom, I'll start off with my mom on December 7th. Who else has a birthday?
Well, my mom on December 26th, and it's her 90th.
Wow, mom's going to be 90 on December 26th. Good deal. Thank you, Rev Kevin. Gary?
My partner, Andre, on December 22nd.
Ah, good deal, Andre. Anybody else? Sunny Day, we got birthdays happening? Our friend Jeanette Bronson has a birthday. And Ananda. Anyone else?
Yeah.
Birthdays?
Yeah, my niece, Wendy, which is the closest thing I have to a daughter, and my best friend from high school. We've been friends since '68. Yayo.
Yayo, good deal. Our niece Jada has got a birthday this month, and also my nephew's gonna be 18, and he has a car. Woo-woo. So watch out.
18 with a bullet.
Yep, Tony Perez and Jada Wormsley. Any other birthdays? All right. Well, as is customary here, the first Sundays of the month, we sing happy birthday. And in place of their names, we say we love you. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, we love you. Happy birthday to you. And many more. Well, thank you so much for being with us at the Downey Center for Spiritual Living, now known as Vida Spiritual Learning Center. We absolutely adore you, and we invite you to come back again next Sunday for another amazing talk. And we're going to close out with our prayer. So I'm going to invite you to assume the prayer position as we sing our closing prayer.
This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. This is our prayer, a song of peace. We get to be the change we want to see. With open hearts and open hands, we lift our voices, in love we stand. We lift our voices, in love we stand.
We lift our voices.
We lift our voices, in love we stand.
All righty. We have a choir here. It's so cool.